The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 36 and verse 1. Have mercy upon us, O Lord God Yahweh, by Shem Havushah of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee. Lift up thy hand against the strange nations, and let them see thy power, as thou wast sanctified in us before them. Be so be thou magnified among them before us, and let them know thee, as we have known thee, that there is no God but only thou, O God Yahweh, by Shem Havushah. Show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Make the time short. Remember the covenant, and let them declare thy wonderful works. Let him that escapeth be consumed by the rage of the fire, and let them perish that oppress the people. Smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen, that say, there is none other but we. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together, and inherit thou them, as from the beginning. O Lord Yahweh Shema have mercy upon the people that is called by thy name, and upon Israel, whom thou hast named thy firstborn. O be merciful unto Jerusalem, thy holy city, the place of thy rest. Fill Zion with unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory. All praises to Yahweh, by Shem Havushah, Wahara Kapadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect that seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. That scattered abroad amongst the heathen, some look like the heathen. Beginning with the 144,000. Preachers, teachers, and prophets. Shalom. As we just read in Ecclesiastes 36, we're praying for mercy from Yahweh Shema Shah, us as a hopeful elect that's seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. All right? Yahweh Shema Shah has his plagues in the earth, his wrath, his anger that he's pouring upon all nations, most definitely upon America. And we pray that Yahweh Shema Shah watch over us and protect us during these times. In the midst of wrath, remember mercy. Right? Because Yahweh Shema Shah about to show new wonders, strange signs amongst the nations, man. Most definitely over here in America. All right? Now, hey, 2nd Ezra 16:1, woe be unto thee, Babylon, America, and Asia, woe be unto thee, Syria, Egypt, and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, beware your children, be sorrowful, your destruction is at hand. Right? So this is what we're witnessing. All right? Hey, we got to get it. 2nd Ezra 15, hold on. And, hold on, oh yeah, I'm tripping. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 7. Therefore, it says, therefore said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. Now let's start up. Verse 4, for all the unfaithful shall die in the unfaithfulness. Verse 1, 2nd Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in the unfaithfulness. Behold, said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. You see, the world. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. So this is the time of judgment, the wrath. That we're praying that Yahweh Shema shall have mercy upon us. Okay, this is the time where we're praying for Yahweh Shema shall to have mercy upon us as a hopeful elect, man. All right? But I see, man, judgment, I'm talking about crazy judgment. A lot of death, a lot of hardships and chaos. Therefore, said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And that's us as the hopeful elect that's seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, that's us complaining about this place, giving our bodies as a living sacrifice and putting up these videos chanting this place down. We're the ones who are praying for mercy, all right, during these times. It says, and therefore said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent and righteous, the innocent blood from among them. So you see, Yahweh Shema Shah is avenging us on the world, is avenging us on America. That's why these things are happening, all right? Because as we read, Yahweh Shema Shah will no longer suffer, meaning allow us to dwell in the land of Egypt, all right? Meaning America. It says, behold, my people's legs are flocked to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, you see? So we're in the time of Yahweh Shema Shah performing the same plagues as he did in ancient Egypt, in this new modern Egypt. All right? Ultimately, Yahweh Shema Shah is plaguing the world, but America is getting it the worst. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before and will destroy the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God Yahweh shall bring upon it. All right? So, Yahweh Shema shall smite Egypt with plagues as before. All right? It's going into them 10 plagues, man. And Yahweh Shema shall is bringing upon Babylon. All right? It's bringing upon Babylon. All right? And this one cause major chaos, man. A lot of death. 2 videos. This one right here is Dabu 7. It says, get ready for blackouts. AI and drone attack simulation expose a massive U.S. grid vulnerability. And remember that, who was that? Is his name Dennis Quaid? He had a lockdown, power up, grid down, power up, something like that. That video that came out like 3-4 years ago. All the brothers did videos on it. Hey, they've been telling you about how weak the power grid is for the past, ever since CV, since COVID. The heat is causing a major strain on the power grid. The cold weather, people powering up the heat, pumping. Hey, it's getting weak. And remember, the infrastructure is weak. Okay, this place is in complete decay. Remember, Klaus Schwab said there's going to be a pandemic. There's going to be a major cyber attack. Remember, this is part of the Great Reset to shut everything down. All right. What's his name? Bill Gates said, "Hey, it's going to be a plague. The COVID plague didn't get him. He's pretty sure the next one will. So, hey, you got diseases. All this stuff is coming. The power out. Power outages, grid down, blackouts, brownouts, ration of power. All this stuff is coming, man. All right. So, hey, right when I finished watching the Big Brother Ayashayar, if I said Ayashayar from Charlotte, this video popped up. Okay, with Dabu. Then I looked up the video that the brother used and Dabu used, and we're gonna play that too. That 5-minute video. So we're in a time where, man, we about to see some craziness, man. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Let's go ahead and cause all this stuff is gonna add to the chaos, man. All right, you can just keep reading that second edit on down, but I want to get it right here. Second address 6, and cause this one cause everything to be shut down, man. It ain't gonna be no movement. Remember, when the power go out, it ain't no movement. Hey, don't forget the power. Electricity has a lot to do with purifying water. All right. This electricity, it controls everything. See, in the ancient world, like in ancient Egypt, you cannot have power. Well, I don't want to say power, but they use lanterns, lamps, and stuff like that. They didn't have an electric grid. All right? The only electric grid back in the day was the sun and the moon. The sun, the light by day, and the moon, the light by night. All right. Well, these times, man, it be so damn dark. At nighttime, you barely got it in the light from the moon. All right, unless it's a full moon. Um, During the daytime, you got enough sunlight, but hey, this system is set up to run off a power grid, which preserves your food, medicine. Um, this power grid, it cleanses the water. You know, all of these things. Hey, the power grid. Hey, with the power grid being down, hey, the grocery stores can't keep the food on chill. You see, so it's gonna cause famine. It's gonna cause sicknesses. It's gonna cause death. All right. So hey, it's about to be a lot of chaos. It's about to be a lot of chaos. Second Ezra 6:22 through 24. And suddenly shall the song place appear in song, the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall be suddenly afraid. And after that time shall friends fight against one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. And the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. You see? See how about Shema Shah most definitely is plaguing Egypt again as before, but it's gonna be a hell of a lot more brutal this time. And you want to go into Wisdom of Solomon, the 17th and 18th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, it goes into what happened during the blackouts. Alright? In ancient Egypt. Hey, you want to know, kind of get an idea of what's gonna happen this time? Hey, look up what's going on in Venezuela. All right, the power outages. Hey, it was uproars of the people. All right, chaos, and it's gonna be a hell of a lot worse this time. It's coming. These are the plagues that's gonna hit America, man. Real quick. Second Esdras 16 and 37. Let's start at 35. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. Behold, the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. So you see, hey, these false gods, these false leaders, these false teachers, these false prophets tell you things gonna be okay and God will protect their people, and you come to this religion, you're gonna be all right. And no, they tell you these things not gonna happen, and they lying. And Yahweh Shema Shah said, don't believe God, don't believe Jesus, don't believe Allah, Kemet, all them false gods. He said, no, believe on His word through the prophets. All right, because the words of Yahweh Shema Shah stands true. His words are faithful and true. His word is going to play out, and we're witnessing that. All right, which is a whole nother reason for us in this truth to not go back out there into the world, man, because these false guys ain't been telling us nothing. Hey, we came out of that foolishness, man. It'll be stupid for us to go back. And the scary part about it is, it's not even our decision. Yahweh Shema Shah determines if we get to stay within inside the inner courts or get kicked out and be on the outside looking in. Excuse me, looking like a broke dick dog, man. All right. So Yahweh Shema Shah said again, verse 36, behold, the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. And you Christians, you talking about you're going to get raptured up out of here and before the tribulation and all that foolishness? Well, y'all already know. Y'all asses ain't going nowhere, man. Ain't nobody going no damn well. And y'all finished. It says, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. What plagues? The plagues of Egypt. But they're hitting different this time. They're hitting a hell of a lot harder. All right? It says, are not slack, as when a woman with child in the ninth month bringing forth her son with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains can pass her womb. Which pains, when the child coming forth, they slack not a moment. Right? And these plagues are not going to ease up. Even so shall not the plagues be slack that come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn. Sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So you see the whole earth gonna mourn. All right? You said, well, the earth mourning now. Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. Look up the term wailing. All right? Okay? So all this is being brought forth as part of the global elites plan because they're about to bring forth this digital system, man. All right? Everything is going to be rationed from power to gas to food. Remember, hey, we said this a couple weeks ago. Been saying through the spirit of prayer, how about Shema Shah, how a while back Venezuela, hey, they were rationing out power from time to time. Certain hours they could use the water and lights at this time and that time to get your stuff done. So all this stuff coming, man. All right, the power grid too weak, and you most definitely know and understand some in these major cities. All right, remember everything outside these major cities where they can have a troop station. Everything outside of that is gonna be no man's land. All right, so these cities where the troops gonna be are gonna be somewhat of like the safe havens, man. All right, and the only way you can be able to be a part of that is if you bow the knee to this beast system, take the MOTB. And what on the outside is going, hey, which is going to be the elected Israel, no doubt. Hey, the just going to have to live by their faith, man. All right, but let's go ahead and play these videos. Get ready for blackouts, AI, and drone attack simulation exposing massive U.S. grid vulnerability. And you best believe they can try to blame it on Iran, Russia, and China. No doubt, Iran. All right, but it doesn't matter who they blame it on. It's still going to come to pass. And the reason why they'll try to blame the big three is so that they can somewhat gain the trust of the people back. All right? Because remember, people about to be broken down, man. And people going to do anything to try to survive.
Americans feel the shock of higher gas prices at the pump. There's another energy crisis brewing across the country, but the people who actually run the electrical grid issuing stark warnings. For 100 years, America's electrical system, mostly stable, with blackouts being the rare exception. But when they do happen, they can have exceptional consequences.
The situation here in Brownsville was described as anarchy, war, rioting.
Every source of power that the state of Texas has been compromised. Now a new combination of the latest artificial intelligence data centers and aging power plants is creating a perfect storm, from the big city to the Great Plains.
It's becoming more of a challenge across the whole eastern part of the United States.
Rich Dewey oversees NISO, which runs the grid in New York. Rich, you say the grid is at an inflection point. What does that mean?
Really, it's a confluence of a number of different factors. So we're on the cusp of really new technologies coming onto the grid, and it's really got us concerned about our ability to meet reliability for not only for New York City, but for the state as a whole.
Dewey says on a peak day, the demand is 32 to 33,000 megawatts. Now they have proposals for 13,000 more megawatts in demand for AI alone, a nearly 50% increase.
At a time of significant load growth, we're actually retiring more generation that we're building, and that gives us some concern.
Now, if you couple that with this growing threat here of drones hitting the grid, it's not going to be a good situation. We have the U.S. government and...
Now, remember also, without power, you can't get gas from the gas pump. You can't get money out the ATM. You can't use phones. If you got some type of breathing apparatus that you got to charge up at night or whatever, however that stuff works, you're not going to be able to use it. Hey, generators in the hospitals only going to last maybe a couple of days, and the people going to die. All right? People doing surgery, you know, generators go out, they have to postpone, or in the midst of surgery, that junk might happen, and hey, just a lot of craziness going to happen, man. Hey, you got these electric cars, bye-bye, not going to work. You most definitely can't charge them. You see? And whatever else you could think of.
The Department of Homeland Security, which is underfunded and partially shut down right now, saying that they have concerns that these drones are going to be used on our electrical grid in North America specifically, and they ran simulations. They ran simulations to see what would happen if these Iranian drones specifically were launched from somewhere, let's say Mexico, and they weren't able to take them down. If they were able to hit just a handful of sites, they would cripple this country in a heartbeat. Most of the components that you're going to need to get back up online, ironically enough, are going to come from China. So this whole thing is a setup. Has been, will be, through and through. So they're going to continue with these drills and these simulations, but none of them bring back anything good. They all say the same thing, that you're vulnerable here, 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 and here, and that you have to do something about it. Then what you see on the right is highways putting up drone netting. These are things cities and towns do when they know that something's going down and they're taking it serious. I foresee this happening in cities along the border, in any city that starts to see these drone incursions en masse, because I believe they're going to come in waves just as the Obama movie predicted, and they're going to cause mass problems. This is just the beginning of all this. For anyone thinking that it's going to be over soon, nope, they've already killed high spiritual individuals out there in Khomeini, maybe not to you, but to others. And that causes kamikazes. That sparks blowback regardless of how staged things are out there, because some people take it to heart seriously. Then when you add in the whole thing is a setup to begin with, this does not look good. It looks like the grid is definitely going to take a hit. I would prepare for that and have a plan. Join me for the live streams where I talk about this in greater detail. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on W77. Much love.
And don't forget, again, without power, the stores can't be open. So they got to close down. So, hey, we about to see straight up collapse, man. All right? That second after 16, it goes into how the city is going to be cast down. You see? You see? So, hey, cars will be left in the streets. Hey, it's going to be crazy, man. Now, let's play this other video. And that's going to be it. Right here. Electrical grid at increasing risk of blackouts due to surge in demand. See, y'all think it's a joke. When I said y'all, I'm talking about 2/3. But hopefully they are the only ones taking heed.
Offering replacement windows, think twice about buy two, get two.
Even Edomites know what's going on. And y'all people with generators, got them loud tail generators, y'all gonna be targeted. Y'all gonna be the first targets. People gonna be on y'all heads like ball caps, man. I'm just saying.
Free or 50% off deals.
Inflated prices, restricted options, and confusing language will never be the Window World way.
You deserve transparent pricing at the highest quality. You deserve Window World.
As Americans feel the shock of higher gas prices at the pump, there's an energy crisis brewing across the country, but the people who actually run the electrical grid issuing stark warnings. For 100 years, America's electrical system, mostly stable, with blackouts being the rare exception. But when they do happen, they can have exceptional consequences.
The situation here in Brownsville was described as anarchy, war, rioting.
Every source of power that the state of Texas has been compromised. Now a new combination of the latest artificial intelligence data centers and aging power plants is creating a perfect storm, from the big city to the Great Plains.
It's becoming more of a challenge across the whole eastern part of the United States.
Rich Dewey oversees NISO, which runs the grid in New York. Rich, you say the grid is at an inflection point. What does that mean?
Really, it's a confluence of a number of different factors. So we're on the cusp of really new technologies coming onto the grid, and it's really got us concerned about our ability to meet reliability for not only for New York City, but for the state as a whole.
Dewey says on a peak day, the demand is 32 to 33,000 megawatts. Now they have proposals for 13,000 more megawatts in demand for AI alone, a nearly 50% increase.
At a time of significant load growth, we're actually retiring more generation that we're building, and that gives us some concerns.
New York is connected to about half of the country through the Eastern Interconnection, and Dewey says everyone is talking about the problem.
What we're seeing is the story in New York is a very similar story across all the other regions.
Another grid operator called PJM handles power in 13 states and D.C. They say they've got the same problems. They're letting new data centers connect only if they bring their own power plants online line too, or they have to agree to power down when the grid gets stressed. It's becoming a political hot topic, with protests against new data centers at town halls across the country. Starting to hit Americans' wallet too, with average electricity prices across the country up about 5% in the last year, and more than 35% last 5 years. Florida's governor says he's for some new regulations on their construction and impact on the grid. And in California, some projections indicate a doubling of the state's demand in the next 10 years. For the companies that actually have to deliver the power, it's all they're talking about too.
We know across the country we need to generate more power and we need to invest in infrastructure to move it. And that's what we're all focused on.
Sally Librera runs National Grid New York.
We are investing in the grid throughout the state. Upstate, we are making the largest investment that's ever been made in the grid. We're rebuilding 1,000 miles of transmission. We are investing heavily in substations. And the reason that we're doing that is because we want to grow the grid.
That includes the natural gas to fuel the plants, now the biggest fuel source for electricity across the country, surpassing coal about a decade ago. And despite the global conflict, natural gas prices have remained relatively low this year. For now.
There's a lot of interest in nuclear technology and in doing nuclear technology differently than it's been done in the past.
It's part of why the infamous 3 Mile Island nuclear plant is set to get back up and running in Pennsylvania. We visited recently as they were ready to flip the switch.
When we restart the plant, it'll look just like this.
The more that people are thinking about energy, then we have more people at the table thinking about solutions, and that's a very exciting place to be.
An exciting problem to solve as long as the lights stay on.
And Tom Winter is joining us now. And I think you kind of summed up my kind of follow-up question quite well, which is, okay, great. So there's some solutions out there, right? Nuclear technology, for instance, being one of them. But you also mentioned that these rolling blackouts could happen as soon as next summer, right? So how do we get there faster? Is there anything folks can do, some patchwork solutions so that we're not dealing with these rolling blackouts?
Yeah, well, when you talk to Dewey and Libera, I mean, first, there's things that need to be done immediately for the near term and then also done immediately for the long term. So on the near term side of things, one of the things that NISO is trying to do is, figure out, are there ways that we can communicate with customers, whether it be data centers or be you and me here in New York State, that we can kind of cut back a little bit on that demand, save some of the energy. They're also talking about the idea of storing some of the energy. At 2 a.m., we don't consume as much power as we do at maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m. on a hot day, but those power plants can run there. There are ways to store that energy that could be potentially helpful. Long term, of course, the challenge here is that, in 3 to 5 years, it will take to ramp up the types of power plants that you'll need to be able to deliver this power.
So are you telling me I should listen to my husband and turn the lights off when we leave the house and not crank the AC all the way down to 65 degrees or the heat up to 80?
I think that's something that NISO and every other operator would very much like you to do. Yes, on those days.
Okay, got it. Tom Winter, thank you. Appreciate it.
We thank you for watching, and remember.
You see what she said at the end? Are you telling me we got to leave our lights off when we leave and turn our and don't turn our power down, the heat down, AC down to 68? They go to show you, man, hey, the people abusing what they have because they're so used to having it. Yahweh Shemashah is about to take away all that comfort and luxury, man. Because that's exactly what she just said. See, this is what people are accustomed to. Oh, I'm going to leave the lights on. Oh, I ain't worried about it. I'm gonna leave the AC on when we leave. I'm going to crank it down to 68 so it'll stay on, and when we get back home, the house will be cold. Instead of everything having it set at a comfortable temperature. You see what I'm saying? See, that this place, man, it got to go. It got to go, man. Hey, these people ain't used to shit, man. But they about to get used to hard times, though. And we can be in it, too, but, hey, Yahweh Shema Shai is going to watch over us and comfort us. All right? Straight up, man. Shalom.